Hello and welcome to The Adventure Continues, where members of Big Bad Evil Guys sit down to discuss the current actual play campaign taking place. Welcome to Greystand. I'm JT, host and DM to the chaos we bring every Tuesday, and Yurko's joining me tonight. Hello, Yurko,
I
aka Ulrich.
This lighting makes my teeth look yellow. I
Oh,
brush my teeth, I promise.
I I didn't doubt it. Just so you know. Just to be clear, um, tonight we're going to be covering the last couple sessions. We had session 23, Revelations of Thrix, and session 24, Echoes of the Past. Um, really intense titles now that I think about it.
Apt?
Yeah,
Aptly intense, I think.
yeah, we've definitely had some crazy sessions. Except just looking back through the session tiles, it's like
Yeah, we have some silly ones.
yeah, the boars in the bungles, the
Mhm.
city of Thrix. That one is like, ooh, and then it's Tim's tiny hut, and then
Mhm.
Revelations of Thrix. It's like we do this.
Mhm.
um, Something I just want to point out really quick before we jump in. Those of you that are watching the video, hello. This is something we do every other week at BBEG. But it's normally just podcast format. But we figured we'd try something extra this time. So
Yeah,
it's it's mostly just us chatting about the game and me getting feedback and them asking questions that I may or may not answer. So
I also did not know we were gonna be recording the video when I got dressed, so
to be fair, neither did I.
yeah,
I
hey! I
so
say that like I don't dress like this on stream anyway.
yeah, I think the only thing different right now is I don't have backlighting, like my colored
Mhm.
backlighting. That's the only difference. I mean, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it.
Fuck yeah.
I don't have a lot of notes for either of these sessions, but there's a lot to unpack anyway. So, with session 23, the revelation of Thrix, it started um, with a fight. I think I,
Yes.
so did session 22, like back to back, starting with a fight. This
Yeah,
one, yeah,
'cause we start shit.
you do. You
Mhm.
finish shit too so far.
Mhm.
Um,
So far.
the fight involving within the council meeting room, I believe I refer to it as within the city hall of Thrix. A fight between the measure and some ettercaps and giant centipedes. Ettercaps, it's such a weird name.
Yeah.
They're not mushrooms, like at all. But ettercaps implies mushroom to me because of the word cap, like
Because
mushroom
of the word
cap.
cap.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, from Middle English Otterkop, from Old English Ottorkop,
Hmm.
from Ottor, which means poison or venom, and Kappa, which means spider.
Get the fuck out of here.
There you go. Yeah.
Are you serious? Wait, so
According to Merriam-Webster. Yeah.
is in Webster's dictionary?
Merriam-Webster. Yeah. Ettercap. It's a Scottish word for a spider or an ill-tempered or spiteful person. There you
My
go.
mind is just blown right now.
There you go. It's a word.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's aptly named since ettercaps are these disgusting bipedal spider-like creatures. So
Mhm.
pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
Um, so you fought a couple of those. This fight didn't start with anybody instantly getting hit down to like a tenth of their health, unlike the
Oh, yeah.
previous fight and a couple of fights prior to that. But it was, I think the combat went pretty well. It was interesting.
It was neat.
I should have made the room bigger though, for the sake of utilizing the difficult terrain.
Ooh, yeah, that's a
Mm.
that's a fair point. or even made it more difficult. Like, yeah, there's not really like rules as written for that, but if you made it
Yeah,
like more restricted so you can only travel like a couple of spaces at a time
a
in this framed
quarter.
area,
Yeah,
something like that, that'd be cool.
yeah. I mean, rules are
The fight
meant
was
to be
fun.
broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. And a fight worth having because when the fight concluded, you did acquire a map of Thrix,
Hmm.
which laid out a number of named locations within the city, quite a few actually.
Like the Elementum Cerebellum.
Yes, the name that I keep screwing up. Yeah.
Or is it
Um,
Cerebellum Elementum?
no, it's God, God damn it. It is the scroll. Cerebrum Elementum.
It's the Cerebrum Elementum?
I think so.
Fuck.
I'm pretty sure that's what I have written here. I swear to God, I
I'm gonna
wrote
pull up
this
Roll20
shit.
right
The
now.
fact that I feel so stupid. The fact that I'm like, I think that's what it's called. Like, I wrote this. This is mine.
I'm
I don't know
gonna look up
why.
the handout that you gave us.
Yeah, it's Cerebrum Elementum.
Fuck. Well,
It's a tongue
no.
twister.
On mine it says Cerebellum Elementum.
Well, I was wrong. You were right, but I was wrong. So,
This is very important to me because I wasn't counting, by the way, but I was so close to saying it 10 times fast as was
Cerebellum Elementum. Yeah.
was challenged to do. And
Maybe this is just a sign that I should make it Cerebellum Elementum.
it says Cerebellum Elementum on my sheet.
I know my lore sheets don't say that though, but it's fine. It's okay. So you got your map,
Uh-huh.
and you immediately after a long rest, decided to head towards the Temple of the Children of Thrift.
Yes.
That's
We yeah,
pretty
pretty
exciting,
yeah.
especially
um
especially for me because I knew what it was, and I'm sitting here the whole time like, man, I told these guys about this place like 20 sessions ago.
and
um,
yeah, it was a long time coming.
hmm
It's I mean, we'll get to it, but raised a lot of questions as it gave answers about like Myrna and who she is and what exactly happened.
hmm
So, yeah.
Yeah, crazy
I
shit.
I'm very emotionally invested in what's going on and I have mixed feelings about this place because of it.
I mean, I can't say I blame you. I do too, but so the Temple of the Children of Thrix. Uh, you've known up to this point in the game, I think, up to that point in the game that they were like a religious group, basically. Um,
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which you don't really have a concept of religion. So
Mhm.
the details, without using the word religion, that's been explained to the measure has kind of been like I feel like the opinion has been, well, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
People
What
chanting in a circle. What is this
what
nonsense?
are they doing?
Yeah, what are their goals? When you got to the temple, it was an octagonal shaped building, appearing to be 2 stories tall. And on each corner of the building, on the floor level, was a statue. Some more destroyed than others. Uh, and you had, because of a natural 20, you had one that stuck out particularly to
Mhm.
Tim, who was investigating them as he went. Saw that one of the statues was a statue of Callus, the envoy.
Mhm.
You know, you guys have rolled nat 20s at just
Mhm.
the perfect times sometimes. It feels good when it happens because it's like, oh good, I don't have to hold this back. It's like, I wrote this in for a special occasion, and this is it. So you found a statue of Callus, as well as a intact statue of Void, which the twins recognized.
Yeah, it's it okay, so I'll say when I first heard about when I first encountered this, I was thinking like they originated from here, or like this was where, like, whatever it is they're doing, um this is where it started,
Mhm.
and this place has been destroyed, and now they're like, I don't know, trying to salvage the situation, or something like that.
Mhm.
But since then I've kind of realized that it could, like, what we know could also be explained by this just being a particularly successful project of theirs, not dissimilar to Grey Stand.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Who's to say?
Who's to say? um yeah, I mean, I I like to hear the in character thoughts and out of character thoughts about the things that you guys aren't sure about. Like, it could be this, it could be that, and
Mhm.
I I didn't realize just how many directions you could skew this idea into, and how far off and how close it could possibly be to what's actually going on. Like,
Yeah.
because you had
Mhm.
stated your opinion of what you thought was going on, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. That
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
it. And then someone else says something different, and I'm like, oh, like, it could be that too. Like,
Dude,
I'm just, oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about from Delta Green.
uh-huh.
We play Delta Green as a home game, and that's all about, like, mystery and investigation. And it just
Yeah.
happens with players all the time. If they don't know the whole story, but they get some information,
Mhm.
like, and this is just a thing that people do. They extrapolate,
Oh, yeah.
and the it becomes a serious problem when they get attached to their initial they get like one or two points of data,
Mhm.
and then they extrapolate like the full story, and then they just get attached to that regardless of what more information comes in.
Yeah.
Um and then it's
Eh,
fun as a GM to be like, no, like
yeah.
I have to push you on that and like really point out this new bit of information that
Mhm.
disproves what you were thinking. Yeah.
And you know what? Like, that, I think that last bit that you just said is very true to Delta Green, because those
Hmm.
are small modules
Yeah.
with what that we play. In this, like, this game is going to run as long, like, until we find the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I imagine that this is going to be going on for at least a real, like, a year, like, real time. Like,
Hmm.
I think we'll pass a year mark at least, and until this is over. And so, like, when you guys potentially, I'm not saying you haven't, but when you guys kind of go off the reservation with an idea, I kind of just have to sit there and be like, well, they'll find out eventually. The downside, though, sometimes is like, and this goes in the way of whether you're really close or way off. Like, it could go either way, and I sit there and I go, have I given them enough information? Like,
Oh
should they
yeah.
know enough up to this point? Especially if a group guesses something and they're off by like one detail, and I'm like, it's right
Mhm.
there. What are you doing? Like,
Mhm.
it's like you just want
Mhm.
to grab their head and point it that way.
That is always the one detail that becomes like the tent pole of whatever plan they're cooking up. It's
Yep.
like, fuck.
Yep.
And then they execute the plan and it doesn't work. You
It
have to
falls
have it
apart.
not work, and they are like, "What happened? We made a plan." It's like, fuck.
But it was the butler in the study with the candlestick.
Yeah, exactly. They're so sure about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So the
yeah, I
this
mean,
yeah,
I'm trying not to do that, but you know.
right. The statues were a
Mhm,
big moment though. And there was also another statue that the details partially intact, but enough to see what they
mhm,
looked like, and it had the name. Oh, each statue had a little plaque with a name on it, and there was another one that said Quest. So,
right, I had forgotten about that.
so
Who is
in
this
the
quest?
the fact that there are 8 statues tells
Mhm,
you that there's more than the four
right,
piety, fear, callous, and void that you know about. There's four more. So
one of whom is named Quest.
one of whom is named Quest. Yes. So um time will tell, I guess. uh you
Right.
guys eventually proceeded inside the temple, uh where you basically got an image of what Anthea saw all
Mhm,
those sessions ago, or at least the destroyed version, because she didn't see a broken room. She saw it in one piece. Um, and there was stained glass windows with images depicted on them of the envoys. Um, there was a statue fallen over behind the podium, and on the podium were a list of names. I got that from Delta Green, by the way. I was like,
Really?
"Oh, yeah."
That's
I wanted the names somewhere.
mhm.
I knew I wanted that, and then I was just like, "Oh." I was like, "I really like that a lot. Oh, well, I'm gonna do that now." I was like, "On the podium, names." So, yeah,
That's hilarious.
that's why
That's
that
a
ended up there.
that's a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I
For the epic crossover of
mm,
BBEG and Delta Green fans,
mhm,
which I think is us.
mhm. So yeah, that's why I put them on there because I like the concept. Like that makes sense. Like
Mhm,
why not? So um the on the plaque on the podium plaque, first name in the list, Mother Myrna,
yeah.
along with a bunch of other names that I didn't disclose to everybody except for Tim, who specifically said he was going to make a note of all the other names. So he did.
Mhm,
I have passed that list on to him. Um, but then the statue behind the podium was a nondescript figure,
mhm.
and it had the words "the great originator, comma
Comma.
Thrix"
Wow.
written on it.
That's an important comma.
It is an important comma. It implies so much. It
Mhm,
tells you what the originator's name is, or what the people of Thrix call the originator.
mhm.
So that was a pretty big moment too. And Anthea like freaked the hell out. I think for Anthea right now, um, she feels liberated
Mm.
because she was like this chess piece, if you will, of Myrna's, or not chess piece, a pawn. Well, yeah, same thing, a pawn.
Yeah, fun.
She was being used to like spy on you guys, if you recall. And
Yeah.
Myrna knew your names,
Mhm.
and used her to fight against you. And all Anthea came back with after that was, "Hey, I had these visions." And I mean, at that point, the trust was just not there at all. The trust
Yeah,
was completely like in the
absolutely not.
toilet, or at least with Ulrich.
Yeah. Yes. Like, we know that the that the BBEG can get straight into her head. Like
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
just a vulnerability. That's a liability. Like,
yeah. You're right. No, 100% right.
yeah.
So, but being in that place,
Mhm.
seeing that statue, the stained glass, like for her, that was just like, see, I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I gotta ask, does Ulrich like feel any different about her trustworthiness at this point, especially after seeing all this?
So not really. Because Ulrich's issue was not that Ulrich never thought that she would lie about this detail, right?
Okay.
Like, um, Ulrich's distrust of her is like more that like she's a weak link, basically. Like she's vulnerable to Myrna's manipulations.
Mm,
So having her around with us all the time makes us vulnerable as well. Like that's the big, not to mention the fact that like he basically just sees her as an untrained civilian, right? Like she
mhm.
can cast Moonbeam and Barkskin, that's nifty. But like, you know,
And what's what's the I wanted to call it wheel and woe. I know that's not it. What's the ground AoE attack and healing spell?
Wither and Bloom.
Wither and yeah. Oh, whatever. I was close. She could do a little more than just Moonbeam and Barkskin, but yeah, no, I know Ulrich. Yes, his
Mhm.
perception. Yeah. Well, she felt a lot better about herself for sure.
That's good. I'm happy for her.
Not Ulrich though.
Yeah. Mhm.
um. Yeah. So that was pretty big though. You guys like the pieces of Thrix are kind of coming together a little bit now that you've seen all this. Um, and then up on the roof,
Mhm.
because I dangled that in front of you to see who would go up to the roof.
Yeah, you gave us a ladder.
I
Like
give you a ladder. Yeah. Um,
I
you,
also like how you were saying that the end of the ladder was like 6 feet off the ground, and
mhm.
everyone was like, "How are we gonna reach it?" I was like,
Yeah, and
"You
Cassidy just,
reach upwards." Yeah.
yeah. Cassidy's like, this is how, friends. Um, on the roof, you found basically I feel the way that I described it, six skeletons in a circle that have now been reduced to piles of skeleton,
Mhm.
with blast marks where each of them was supposedly standing. The blast coming from city center, based on the mark.
Right. So, like, we're talking like Terminator here.
Thank you. Yes. Exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like, how bad was this event? Yeah, this is Sarah Connor on the chain link fence bad. It's like
Mhm.
I'm glad that someone picked up on that.
You know, you wanna know what's really funny?
Hmm.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my god.
I just know of it through cultural osmosis.
You
Yeah.
really need to watch it. It's a classic.
Sure. I bet.
You
I think I've seen, like, most of the first one flipping through channels, but, like, I've seen, like, all Bebop, like
mhm. It's good. It's good. It's a good action movie is what it
Yeah.
is. Um While you're up on the roof, also spotted off in the distance was the oh, see, I have it written down as Cerebellum Elementum in
Here we go. Because
so
I said it 6 or 7 times fast. Again, I wasn't counting, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was like 8 or 9, you were close. But
I was
anyway.
so close. I was so close. I'm not gonna name names, but someone stopped me. She knows what she did.
So the Cerebrum Elementum tower you saw in the distance, um, with, as I will name it as Colby did, with a telescope sticking out of it. A very large telescope. I mean, big enough that is noticeable sticking out from the dome top of this building. Uh, and after observing this, you all went back down, and Jules led you all around to the back of the building where the entrance to the Noctis Umbra headquarters was. Um,
Yeah, it was hyped up pretty hard by this Jules fella.
well, yes,
Mhm.
yes, we'll get to that in a second, but it was, yes. The whole city was
Yeah,
technically because he thought that it was in one piece still.
yeah.
So little did he know that that was a long time ago.
Like,
Yes,
was it 12,000 years or 1,200
100,
years? 1,200
1,200.
years. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, not 12,000, 1,200. Jesus Christ. Um, but that was it for uh, Revelations of Thrix, which really had a lot going for it. Really had a lot going for it. I think I'm really enjoying the city of Thrix a lot because it's like this is where the information is. It's like this is where
Mhm.
all of this info is. I get to talk about. Like this is what I've been scribbling on paper for the past 6 months. Well,
Mhm.
not 6 months. That's exaggerating, but yeah. So episode or session 24, which was the mark of 6 months on the campaign,
Mhm.
which I still think is awesome. Um, that was Echoes of the Past.
Right. That
Yeah,
one started with a fight too. Not immediately, but
it
pretty
did.
much. Yeah.
It's like Thrix is a dangerous place or something.
Yeah, it's like this place fucking sucks.
It makes me feel bad because I know that the group is not like a heavy combat group. Like, you guys
Mhm.
like, and I'm okay with it. Like, you guys love role play and,
Mhm.
combat's secondary, which I think is perfectly fine. Um, I do think that it would create it would make combat a little better if like there's somebody who like hypes up combat that gets really excited and stuff like that because people kind of will feed off of that energy.
Mhm.
But but I try to keep the combat to a minimum because the storytelling and the role play is just, I mean, you
Mhm.
guys take it and run with it. It's like it, and that's more like entertaining than anything.
I gotta say, I do like combat, and if
Do you
you need me to
hype it up?
express it more.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, if that's fun for you, then do it.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Let's fuck some shit up.
Mhm.
um. So, uh, yeah. The last 3 sessions have started with combat. Yeah, that's nuts. You started to explore the headquarters of the Noxus Umbra. And while you were down there, you went through essentially the secretary's desk because nobody's
Mhm.
down there. But this is, I gotta say, as you have seen so far, this is the most untouched part of Thrix because it's underground.
Right.
Like there was in the back of the building, I left this part out. There was a statue podium that had no statue on it. There was a button on the side that was pressed. It moves to the side, and there's a ladder going down into the headquarters. So because of their bomb shelter like structure of a headquarters, they were largely untouched.
Hmm.
Um, but
Untouched
you,
enough that someone might have survived the blast,
I mean, yeah, someone could
and
have.
then just starved to death and desiccated and held a grudge for 1,200 years and
It's like you're trying to
was
describe
snarky to
something.
Ulrich for some reason. Someone might have done that because they were underground.
Anger is a pretty big motivator. Revenge is a pretty big motivator. Um,
Elf literally too angry to die.
yeah. Well, you explored a little bit. You found envelopes in the secretary's desk. Uh, one with, or each one with a name of a member of the order on it.
Mhm.
Um, including one of them was for two. One person had two envelopes. But you ended up finding what demonstrated to be an undead individual uh, by the name of Danore, which was one of the members of Noctis Umbra and also not known to the entire group, actually only known to Rena and Marissa because said it, they talked about it in Infernal. Danore is Jules's ex-lover.
Yeah, X. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I
I
could
mean,
see it
because
might not be
might not be
great
ex.
between them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unintentional ex. I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Um, I specifically asked Marissa what she was doing when she walked in this room because as soon as you started talking, I was like, "Oh, get Jules in here," and she's holding the necklace up, and
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, well, he
Flaunting it.
recognizes the necklace."
Yeah.
Yeah, Danare immediately recognized the necklace and started dishing out threats and demands.
Which, if I understood correctly, Danare does not he did not seem to say anything to suggest that he knows Jules is in the necklace.
Correct.
Right. He
He
just
just
saw that
wanted
we had it, so we must know him.
right.
Okay.
Right, and the fact that he asked, "Where is he?"
Right. Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
also gonna point out he never said his name. Just a fun
Oh,
fact, he
true.
never said Jules. He just said, "Where is he?" Oh, wait.
I think
No,
he
he
might have
did
said
say his
Jules.
name
Yeah.
because Tim said that was actually his name. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Mhm.
he did say it, I apologize. But yeah, when he asked, "Tell me where he is," or said, "Tell me where he is," Rarissa refused, so
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She's very loyal.
well, I say that gives away any chance you had of lying to him about knowing that you know
Yeah.
who he is. Yeah.
It's yeah, I feel like she and Ulrich are gonna have a fight about this before too long.
Well,
Uh,
she is very loyal to Jules.
Indeed. Ulrich is probably the most vocal skeptic of that loyalty.
I I think Ulrich is the biggest skeptic of any loyalty outside of the measure.
Yeah. Yes. Like
Yeah. How does he feel about Lennar?
about Lennar,
Because that's a connection. That's
he's
outside of
just
the
a
group.
fisher. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. What is Ulrich supposed to think about
I
Lennar?
don't know. I don't know.
He
I picked an NPC that's connected to one of the other party members just to
Mhm.
see what you'd say.
Now, if Lennar was like, um, "Hey, I'm gonna come with you guys into the forest," Ulrich could be like, "The fuck you are!" Like,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like,
No, really, I can do this. Yeah, no, you
"Oh,
can't.
buddy, how about you make sure there's a nice river bass waiting for us at
When
home?"
we get
Like,
back, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't survive very long. It's a good thing you didn't, for some reason, bring him with you.
Mhm.
Um, but amidst the demands and threats, Jules got a little tired of dancing around conversation and just stabbed Rarissa in the chest.
Yeah,
He
which I
said,
think he did pretty well. I That's a very specific moment as a GM where the party it's like in your head you're thinking, "I am giving the party this opportunity to talk them down."
hmm
And sometimes the party realizes that that's what is happening, and sometimes they don't.
yeah, yeah,
And it's a very specific kind of gauge of like I have a habit of running those moments long until the tension is ruined. That's my problem.
Mm,
So I think well done. I think he stabbed at prime stabbing time.
thank you.
You're
Thank
most
you.
welcome.
I find it is often most effective when you do it in the middle of someone's sentence.
That's the best time. Yeah.
It's rude to interrupt, but when someone's talking, they feel like they're in control of that specific moment.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, let's take that away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, heard. It's yeah, especially sometimes people feel like that they're invulnerable while they're monologuing. And it's
yeah,
like, nah.
yeah, that's very true. Well,
Mhm.
it's like the monologuing villain, you know?
Yeah,
Like, why doesn't somebody just fucking shoot him while he's talking?
cuz
Well,
it's rude.
I tend to play with that thought process of this
Mhm.
person's talking, but the person they're talking to doesn't really care. Like
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
is gonna end quickly. There's nothing you could tell them that's gonna change their mind. Like some, I mean, there's always those characters where there is a possibility you could talk them down, but then
You
there's
know.
some where it's like, no.
Yeah.
um, so that fight happened. You I gotta say, I think considering he was a single enemy in the whole fight in a very compressed area,
Mhm.
he lasted a decent amount of time and he did a good amount of damage during the
Yeah.
fight. Like he wasn't just it wasn't just like everybody gang up on him and he's done. Like you
Mhm.
guys went like 6, 7 rounds, I think.
It was a really good way to show that like we won this fight because we had every advantage, but we are not his equals. like
Yeah,
like
every
mhm.
so a habit of a player, including myself,
Mhm.
including lots of people, in this case, you looked at your target and said, "That's an undead. Let's throw everything undead hate at him."
Yeah.
And it's just, it's, it's like, well, that might not be the case,
Mhm.
or maybe he's just stronger. I,
Mhm.
I, I gotta be honest. I don't know why I didn't expect Turn Undead to get thrown down, but I'm so glad it did. Be-
Ah,
because that was a moment of, well, it just nothing.
doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that because that was a good opportunity to demonstrate his resolve,
Mhm.
the power of his convictions and motivations. So,
I
uh,
meant to look it up, but Turn Undead, it's like it only affects enemies of a certain CR, right? Um
no, that's another one. There's another cleric ability where,
oh, it's like where it just outright kills undead below a certain CR at higher levels. Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Um, yeah, turn undead makes them run away scared, basically.
Mm,
um, until it takes any damage, up to a minute or until it takes damage. The other one is, I believe it's a channel divinity, but it is the one where it just obliterates them. I can't
yeah.
remember what it's called right now, and I also don't see it.
Uh it's
Destroy
destroy undead.
undead. It's so
It's an
fucking
improvement.
blatant.
Yeah. it's an improvement on Turn Undead.
Yeah, CR1, CR2, CR3, CR4, like just
Yeah.
progressively upgrades over levels. But yeah, so I mean, fair assumption to go to that ability. I would have done the same thing, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed it because it was a demonstration of his ability. And by the way, I have to give you credit. That was an excellent use of bonfire.
Thank you.
You're like, I'm gonna cast bonfire, and I'm like, what? And you're like, right under his feet. I was like, shit. So I was like, that'll do it.
yeah. I mean,
And
that's not even me getting creative. That's
and
Bonfire as written. Yeah.
and then Rena immediately grappled him to hold him
That
in
was
place.
that was the real play.
That
Yeah.
was clutch. Yeah.
Mhm.
You had him surrounded and standing in a fire.
Hmm.
So, but he did pledge to return and kill you all
He did.
as he died.
Ulrich's
So,
very upset about that.
uh, Ulrich's upset about a lot of things right now.
Ulrich is upset about a lot of things, but honestly, okay, what
I'm not
Ulrich's
blaming him. I
oh
mean, it's
yeah,
valid. Yeah.
Ulrich's thinking like we're so loyal to Jules, who's just some guy, and we don't know the whole situation here. If we knew all the facts, it could be just as easily true that Data Ray's in the right, you know? Like, and he's clearly powerful. Like, he has a body, which is one up on Jules at the moment, right? Um,
Everybody has a one up on Jules if you look at it like
yeah.
that.
um, Ulrich is not just upset that uh we have a new enemy, but we also missed out on a potential ally. Like, if we weren't so firmly team Jules, we could have at least like heard him out or maybe try to get him talking or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's the way
Mhm.
Ulrich sees it. And then once we had more information, we can make it a more informed choice about like who we're gonna side with in this little conflict. But
Sure.
mhm.
He's pretty mad though.
Ulrich's pissed.
Oh, I meant Danneray,
Oh,
but
Danneray.
yes,
Yeah. Well,
Ulrich was clearly upset.
mhm.
Yes. Um, Probably the most upset I've seen him.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
you had you. Whether it was intentional or not, you gave Ulrich gave Anthea attitude.
Mm,
You and I say the most because of with what quick uh how quickly these things happened. You had a little attitude with Anthea when
yeah.
she's trying.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
not
I've
socially versed, so it's like she can't be too wise to what's going on and be able to know how to,
mhm,
navigate that other than go team. Um, so that happened. You had a disagreement about trusting Jules with Tim. Actually, that happened first. Then it was the Anthea thing.
yeah.
But I mean, Tim and Ulrich have butted heads quite a
Oh,
few
yeah.
times. Um, again, but it's just a quick procession of which it happened. Those two. Then after you guys burned the body of Danneray, you chopped him up into pieces and burned him. Uh,
Mhm.
After that, when you started long rest, while I feel that Ulrich received what Cassidy said,
Mhm.
he gave the wrong idea by telling her, "Maybe you shouldn't hang out with me." I thought it was a sweet the DM was like, "That's really sweet," because she's like, "I don't like seeing you struggle like that," and the answer was, "Maybe you shouldn't hang out with me then." It was like, "Damn." It's like, this guy just keeps striking out.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, from Ulrich's point of view, it's like, "Oh, I'm real sorry that my frustration is upsetting you. Like,
Mhm.
I'm so sorry I'm inconvenient to your feelings right now. I'm not
Well
gonna just stop feeling this way, so I guess I'll fuck off," you know? Like,
I think yeah, but I think the message was that they care for your well-being.
yeah.
That it was a I don't know if Ulrich could understand that, and I'm not being trying to be sound like a jerk by saying that, but
Mhm.
like I think it came from a place of heart, not a place of stop that you make me feel bad.
No, yeah, and, like, I get that.
You get it, yeah. But
But Ulrich
Ulrich,
he's very pragmatic, like, in
yeah,
everything,
yeah,
right?
he really needs to stop that. I love Ulrich. I'm just
Mhm.
teasing. He
So,
is though,
like
you're right. He is very
mhm.
pragmatic.
So it's always like, what's the like he knows that he gets uh very passionate about things, and he sees
Mm,
that as like a strength. Like from his point of
sure.
view, it's like, you know, we have problems. I am going to buckle down. I am
Yeah.
going to put my head down, and I'm not gonna stop. Like, every little joke along the way is a waste of time. Every little like, if you're worried about my feelings, you're worried about the wrong thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's the way that he sees it.
Yeah.
And uh he just doesn't really have patience for like, from the way that he sees it is like, if you are worried about me and you want me to feel better, help me fucking solve the problem.
Mhm.
Like you're not
Mhm.
going to talk me out of it,
Yeah.
as pure as your intentions might be.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
it's been fun to play, and I have been leading into it pretty hard because that is pretty different from how I operate.
Yeah.
Um,
It definitely is.
yeah.
It's it's uh it's interesting to watch you too because you fully get into it. Like it's
Oh
not
yeah.
just how you speak; it's your expressions, everything. And Amber pointed that out to me
Hmm.
the other day. She's like, "Yurko is like really full on acting in there." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "He gets pretty into it."
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's
I fucking
awesome.
love it too, man. I love this character.
Uh,
Like,
yeah,
and
it's
I.
yeah. He's awesome.
Hmm.
They all are. I love everybody's characters. Like they're all so unique and they are flawed,
Oh
but
yeah.
it adds so much to their character, and it doesn't weigh them down though, which is what's
Hmm.
important. You shouldn't make a flaw that just paralyzes your character, right? Like,
Oh yeah. I hear that, and that's something that I like. Not so much paralyzing my character, but when you make a flawed character, you also have to make sure that like it's a flaw that can help you fail forward, kind of.
yes,
Like if
learning.
yeah, both in terms of just like, it's not always fun to have a character who has some flaw that's just gonna like fuck over your heist or your
Oh
quest or whatever
yeah,
you're trying to do, right?
yeah,
Like,
agreed. Yeah,
and you also don't want a flaw that just makes them like just genuinely unfun to be around, which I feel is
yeah.
the line that I'm like kind of walking with Ulrich. Like
Maybe
it's
a little
hard
bit.
to maybe a little bit. It's hard to play a character who's it's sharp, right?
I think part of what offsets that
Hmm.
is the comical frustration that occurs. You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
like and you know what? I think that session was a really good example of the group's ability out of character to
Hmm.
know when to not make a joke of the situation.
Oh, that's super important in my opinion. Yeah.
Because we do joke around, we have fun here.
Yeah, we
Uh,
have fun here.
but but we everyone definitely knows when to when to tone it down. Mostly, maybe not every single time, but most of the time.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so anyway, one just backtracking a little bit here. One of the things I wanted to point out before the long rest, before burning the body,
Hmm.
uh, after Ulrich left and everybody else was down below still, uh, Rarissa was talking to Jules in Infernal,
Hmm.
which Rena can understand, and Rarissa was talking out loud. Um, Rena realized Rarissa was hiding details from the group, though
Right.
the detail that Jules and Danare were lovers.
Hmm.
Uh, I feel like that was a pretty like ouch. Like that was a
Yeah.
painful moment, as little as that was, because
Hmm.
that was like, you what is there anything like
Are you hiding anything else from us?
and
Yeah,
for
I
it to
remember.
come from a sister, like
Yeah.
from someone who is your kin, your closest friend, a twin, for God's
Yeah.
sakes. Like that's that's like ooh awkward.
It was, and like I wish that Sora were here to
Yeah,
comment on it, but um I could say that if Ulrich were there and if Ulrich spoke Infernal, he would probably have a similar reaction. And I think like Sora and I have talked about this a little bit out of character, like just chatting about, not unlike what we do here, just kind of talking about the game. And
yeah,
Ulrich and Rena are they have similar opinions on the situation with Marissa and Jules. And it's
yeah.
like it's kinda if Ulrich were there, and this might, I don't wanna speak for Rena or Sora, but this might be kinda like this might be floating around in there somewhere. Um,
Hmm.
just kinda this worry that, like, it kinda feels like Marissa's more loyal to Jules than to, like, the rest of us, which might feel like kind of a stretch given like this was kind of a small thing. It is like
It is a
Jules's
small thing.
personal life, but also it's a connection between Jules and Danaray that may very well be relevant that the rest of us might need to know in
Yeah,
case it comes up. And like Marissa treats Jules like he's her absolute best friend,
yeah,
and especially from Ulrich's point of view, it's like, I mean, he's a rock that you found. Like, I get that he was there, I get that he was your friend, but we are here, and even if you don't, like, really feel like we're your friends in that way, we are a team, and we have to
yeah.
work together, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, I do think the twins are emotionally motivated and
Oh, quite yes.
are the opposite of pragmatic typically.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll remind you also because
Mhm.
it makes I don't want to say she's more loyal to Jules than the rest of you. I think she's just as loyal. And
Right,
you think
which
back, she has
mhm,
said that there were times where she felt all alone.
mhm,
And that was a moment actually where, like in Grey Stand, and that was another moment of like tension between the sisters because Rena had no idea her sister
right.
felt that way.
Mhm,
She had Jules. That was he was all she had. She felt.
mhm.
She's had the necklace for a long time. She's had Jules for a long time. So, I mean, I don't think she's more loyal, but and I can't speak for her, obviously. But I do think it's on the same level at the very least.
Yeah,
So
which is yeah.
concerning.
Well, I mean, I, Yurko, the player, am in this instance more of like a member of the audience than anything. But Ulrich, if he thought about it in that light, um, would be like, this is splitting your attention,
Hmm.
Like, um, if
It's a
you are
distraction.
equally, yeah, if you are equally loyal to the both of us, well, like to the measure and to Jules's goals are not ours, Like they kind of align, like, right now, but, like yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, and he hasn't even stated goals to be
Mhm,
completely, honest. Like he just as from what I've told you, from what's
mhm.
happened, his intention was just to help you find someone to help you,
It so,
which backfired.
both me and Ulrich would are speculating that, he was motivated well, okay, Ulrich thinks about it a little more cynically than I do, but,
Oh yeah,
he could be motivated to help Rarissa just because of the relationship that they have, but also I'm sure he has his own motivation to get back to his city, right? Um,
maybe.
which yeah, especially because he thought that there would still be people here. I think
Yeah,
like Ulrich is not. stopped to really put a lot of thought into it. But if he did, I think the conclusion that he would come to would be, um, he wanted to get back here. Like, he probably did genuinely think that someone here could help us, but he also just wanted to get back here because this is his city. Maybe someone could help him get out of that rock, like any
Possibly.
of those things, you know?
And
Um,
yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's fair for sure. Um, Speaking of the necklace,
mhm,
they oh wait, well before I get to that, because there's another detail here that I glazed over. Um, they opened the letters,
yeah, all of them.
and the letters were collections of targets.
Mhm,
It's basically how they got a job. They got a letter, it said a name they had to kill, and
mhm.
Jules' envelope had Myrna's name in it.
That's right.
Yeah. Myrna's name was in there. A leader of the Cerebrum Elementum was in another
Mhm,
one. Another child of Thrix was amongst the letters. What was her name? Colleen. Can't remember her last name right now. Uh, and there was a bunch of other names that you Colby has the name, uh, but you haven't looked into who these people are or were. So
mhm. That
uh,
is something. From the little bit, my little speculation, which I will hold on to with a loose grip as per earlier. Um, it seems like someone wanted to destabilize Thrix. Myrna seems to have been the leader of these children of Thrix.
hmm
And if it was someone from the Cerebellum Elementum, which I'm gonna guess we haven't checked it out yet, is some sort of like university or academic institution. Like,
I'm
sounds like
really
they're taking out community leaders.
I'm really surprised that Tim didn't push to go there yet.
Oh yeah,
Like he said, it'll be there on the way back. Basically, is what he said. It's
I
not
mean,
going anywhere.
very big of him. It's true. Like, if
Yeah.
those pillars of smoke are from campfires, then those people can pack up and leave any minute, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, After those names were revealed, though, the question was brought up to Jules about the necklace, and I rolled to see if his memory was starting to piece back together, and he remembered the purpose of his necklace, which
hmm
was basically a magical item to get him into hard to reach places. Essentially, he
hmm
goes into the necklace, he gets dropped into the location, he takes out the target unexpectedly,
hmm
um, but he can't get out now. So uh, he's been stuck in there for who knows how long. So
I
uh,
wonder if he's just gonna have to roll to remember a power word or something.
mm, maybe,
Hmm. Maybe.
maybe.
Interesting.
Who's to
Interesting thought.
say?
Who's to say?
That's my favorite saying when we do
Mhm.
this. Um, but anyway, after that, all the other stuff happened. Burned Danaray's body. Ulrich and Cassie had their talk during their first watch.
Mhm.
Second half of the night of the long rest, Tim connected with another will-o-wisp.
Oh yeah. Fucking nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, a will-o-wisp who communicated with him verbally as
Yeah.
opposed to flashing images in his mind.
A little more chill than the
Y-
first one. Yeah.
Yeah, uh, Gloria was her name.
Mhm.
I love that name. I don't know why. I
It's a
was
good name.
trying to think of a good name for this little creature, and I was just like, "Oh fuck, I like Gloria." I was like, "That's gonna work." And then when I came up with the names for all the other ones, I was trying to fit a certain style, so it kind of all made sense.
Mhm.
And but yeah, so he connected with Gloria, who basically said that she's the speaker for these other wisps, and they want his help because he helped Gregory, uh, which, by the way, I named him Greg or Gregory because Colby had a character and we played a long time ago called named Greg. Like, he just picks these names that are
Yeah,
just like classic slash old timey kind of names sometimes, and I
just
love it.
like violently mundane.
Yes, I
Yeah.
it's on purpose. It's
Mhm.
but he had this character Greg, and I loved Greg. I thought he was a great character, and I was like, "Oh, this is my little shout out to that character." So he helped Greg along. And basically, what Gloria has asked is that Tim helps each of these spirits, these
Mhm,
children's spirits, to fulfill their last request, essentially. For Greg, it was he wanted to tell somebody about his life,
mhm.
which he did forcibly.
Yeah,
Well, not forcibly actually, because Tim didn't resist.
yeah.
Like he let it in.
Yeah, just like a kid to overshare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So and that gave Gregory the ability to move on. So now these other will-o-wisps want the same thing, and Tim has agreed to do so. So I loved that scene. I had that song
Mhm. It was
saved.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh, it. I love Scott Buckley's music. It's so good, and I'll go and he has albums on like
Mhm,
Amazon Music, and it's a collection of tracks that will have the same kind of vibe.
mhm.
And I think it was Library Songs 7 as where that one came from, I think. And they're all the songs in there are kind of like that. And I heard that song and I didn't see the title or anything, and I'm just seeing these images in my head. I'm
Mhm.
getting these ideas, and I'm like, and that's actually where the Will-O-Wisp thing came from. I was like, "Oh, fuck." I was like, "This would be so awesome to do." And I looked at the title of the song, and the title of the song was "I Walk with Ghosts," and I was like, "I still have to do this. I
Yeah.
definitely have to do this now." Like, this spoke to me.
Mhm.
So,
It was a
um
perfect it was a I'm trying to think of something a little less cliche than a beautiful moment. But,
mm,
it was just a lovely scene. Very happy for Tim. Um,
he's now the shepherd,
yeah.
spirit's shepherd. Um Yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out for him, how he's going to handle the requests, and I'm curious to see how many children's voices I can imitate. They're all sounding the same.
Mm,
Um,
that'll be
it's a,
fun.
it's a challenge, but anyway,
Mhm.
he agreed to that, and the last note I have in here, it was the last thing for the session. In the morning, Ulrich apologized for his mood the previous
Yeah,
day. Yeah, essentially, which was big of him. It's not the
it
first time he's
was.
apologized.
Yeah. I mean, probably won't be the last, but, like,
That's fine, right?
to be honest, if I could share something,
Yes.
it felt like the thing to do at the time, but afterwards, I was kind of wondering, like, would Ulrich really have apologized? Or at least in that like, would he have phrased it the way that he did? I was wondering if that was really, like, the most in character move I could have made for him, like, most true to character, I guess I could say.
Well, I think it was influenced by his talk with Cassidy
Yeah.
because before or after he made his apology, he said, if anybody needs a pep talk, talk to Cassidy. And
Mhm.
Tim followed up with, oh, yeah, she's really good at those.
Mhm.
So clearly that talk had an effect that made him think,
Yeah,
right? So while it
and
might not have been exactly what he would have said,
mhm,
you had that extra factor in there that would change that.
and that
Almost like a
was
character growth
almost
moment.
something like that. I mean, that's kind of exactly what I was thinking when I was because we were going through, like, the whole long rest, and I
Mhm.
was thinking, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have Ulrich apologize in the morning," and I was, like, thinking, like, how exactly does he go about it and, like, that kinda thing. Um, And part of it was to kind of try to. I feel like there was a miscommunication with Cassidy, especially, which we already talked about a little bit. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, and I did kind of deliberately try to be like, because he was not trying to take back what he had said to her. Like, it's not like he was saying, like, I was wrong to say this or I didn't mean this. Like, he did mean it. Like, if it hurts when you see me struggle, I struggle a lot. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
um, but, and that's kind of something that especially with characters like Ulrich, I'm just kind of personally fascinated by the whole, like, um, this idea of like, I'm sorry for being an asshole, but I do still think I'm right. Like, that's like trying to get that message across. You know what I mean? I have a
Uh-huh.
lot of fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's you know, I've I found over the years of role playing and writing characters that the most challenging and also the most rewarding characters to portray are the ones that are the most unlike you. It's rewarding when you accurately depict that personality and
Hmm.
you're like, yes, I can be an asshole. Wait.
Yeah.
It's like-
And it's been really fun playing Alec because, like, he's been an asshole and he's quicker to anger than I am. And it's been interesting just getting in that headspace and kind of just like engaging with emotions that I don't engage with very often. But it's also been
yeah.
rather cathartic because, if anything, what I personally struggle with is voicing my feelings. Like, if I have an issue with someone, I struggle to express that, right? I'm a bit of a peacemaker. I'm a bit of like
Yeah, you're a fixer.
yeah.
That's
Um
I'm right there with you.
I mean, it sounds kind of douchey when I say that about myself, but um
Mm, I understand what you're saying. I don't think
yeah,
it's douchey.
thank you.
But anyway.
I don't like if I have a problem with someone, I'm pretty slow to like
Oh yeah.
bring it up. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah.
it's been kind of cathartic to play someone like Ulrich, who is, you know, say what you want about him. He's honest about how he feels, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's been nice in a way. That's been
Okay.
something that I could learn from him.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
it's cool when we learn from our characters because we're essentially teaching
Yeah.
ourselves.
Hmm.
But yeah, good shit. Um, that was it for session 24, Echoes of the Past. Um, I think we're gonna close it out here. Uh, I'm just gonna do the rundown. This, as you are watching this, is Sunday, or it should be if you get this on the premiere. Um, we will be live on Tuesday at twitch.tv/BBEGTTRPG. And what happens after that? Wow, I just drew a blank. We have our podcast audio that goes up on Fridays, which is just the audio version of the show. And then the day before that on Thursdays when our VOD goes to YouTube. I'm going to say the thing that we should have been saying from day one and has only most recently been brought up. Please, if you like the video, like and subscribe. There's buttons down there somewhere, I
Hmm.
swear. And we will see you all on Tuesday, which this upcoming Tuesday is Halloween, and you should really show up because we're all going to be dressed up. That's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm excited for that.
I spent an irresponsible amount of money on my costume.
I think we all did.
I think we all did.
That should be motivation to promote extra,
Sure. Yeah.
right? Get more people in.
I'll just tweet the receipt. from Medieval Collectibles.
Okay, that's not what I meant, but maybe, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, but anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as the adventure continues. Bye bye.
Bye.